Welcome to the Biba frequency, home to conversations with consciousness. I'm Biba, your host. Hey folks, my name is Biba Logan. I'm your host, and this is Conversations with Consciousness. This is the Biba Frequency podcast, and today I have a very, very, very beautiful person. He's an incredible light worker. He is the creator of Metaverse music on YouTube. And for those of you who don't know about Metaverse music, it's this incredible YouTube channel that I've been listening to personally for years and years. It's music I play every day. It's music I play in my shop. It's music I send to my kid when she's having a hard time. It's all the healing hurts. It's all the frequencies. He just has a symphony of sound. It's this beautiful gateway, portals, doorways into those beautiful realms. He's so intuitive and so empathic that he just knows exactly what to do. And when you hear these tracks that he releases, every week he releases a brand new track for us, and they're free. He never charges for them. And he's been doing it for years. He's also an artist, an incredible artist. And he is very funny and he's very kind. And it was a great honor to really meet him. I always wanted to know who's creating that music. And only recently he started revealing himself on his Facebook page or one of those social media pages. And I was watching him and I started watching him paint, and it was like, wow, he's an incredible artist. And it makes sense. And so we talk about divorce, we talk about kids, we talk about the light, we talk about spiritual awakening, we talk about the ascension, we talk about how many people are waking up to their artistic abilities and how the light coming in at this time is being expressed really through creativity massively, through art and sound and healing and writing and movies and music. And this is a beautiful conversation. It's a dialogue. It's not really like an interview. Me and him are just chatting. And even after the interview, I thought, wow, that's just like me and him having a private conversation. Is that really an interview? Because he's so beautifully, naturally organic and wholesome. I know you're going to love him as much as I do. So we send you love, Brian, and we thank you in advance for all of your wisdom, for sharing your process with us. Brian from Metaverse Music, welcome to the Biba Frequency podcast.
Thank you so much, Biba. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great that you agreed to have this chat with me, because I've been following you a long time. You've been on YouTube with your music for how long?
It's been about 4 years, I think, maybe a little over 4 years. I created the channel, and I kind of sat on it for a little while. I added a song here and there. And then about 3 years ago, I decided to I committed to one song a week, just make a song a week and keep going. And then here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a Thai massage center. I mean, it's not something I ever really talk about, but I have a healing center, and, your music, it's just, the girls are like, can you play something else? I'm like, no, don't touch the music.
No way.
Don't. No. Spiritual reset, 9-hour loop. Keep it going. Yeah. I think those 9 million views are me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's you. Thank you. that was the funny thing. I was thinking, when I first started the channel, I'm like, I started making music for me because it helped me. And I'm like, well, I'll post this and maybe other people like it. I didn't expect it to really go viral. I mean, wow. I felt like it would go somewhere. I felt like it would gain a lot of traction, but I didn't. All of a sudden, when it started getting millions of views, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah, so, it is. It's amazing. When I listen to your, I'm big into Joe Dispenza meditations. So he has a lot of sound in his music, in his meditations. And when I listen to your sound and I close my eyes, it's like it was made for me. I'm instantly in, I get access into those quantum realms. It's instant. You're creating doors with each track or with each piece you release. And those tracks are releasing doors. And I've listened to most of them. And so tell me how that began and how you got into that music that you're making, that sound.
Yeah. So I have been making music for a long time, even when I was in junior high. I would have these cassette tapes, and I'd kind of bounce them back and forth with my little Casio keyboard, and then in high school, started a rock band with some friends, and we started playing clubs and had a lot of fun. And then I think after all that amazing awesomeness, I kind of got into drinking. I got into just living not in a very healthy way, being not in a very healthy way. And so I started meditating, stopped drinking. And then the more I was listening to other meditation channels on YouTube, and I loved the vibes. I just loved being able to just listen to an ambient bed of sound for hours. It just was like, it was like a room I could walk into with like paintings and swirling everything. And so I'm like, I can make this stuff. I'm like, I can do this. I can get some pads and do some research. And it just started to become its own thing. And yeah, it started as like, what do I need to hear tonight to listen, to fall asleep? And I'm like, I'm going to try to make this kind of a track. And then I would try it out. I'd listen to it for a while, and then I'd post it on YouTube. And so yeah.
I love the way you say, because you're an artist, but you paint as well. So when you would lay a track, and it would be like walking into a room. So that's what you are intentionally really making, isn't it? You're creating an atmosphere, which is a room you can be in for whether it's an hour or 333 or 111 or whatever your
Exactly.
lengths are.
Yeah.
But
that's exactly what it is. It's kind of like, I've been used to writing music as a commodity, as a product. Like, you have your perfect 3.5 minute pop song, and and that's always good. Those are fun to write. But I always thought, well, I mean, music and sound and frequency is so much more than just that. I mean, it's like a full on immersion experience. It's who we are. It's what we are. It's what everything is. And I think it's funny. I used to always joke with the guys in the band about writing a song with just one note. And I never thought I'd seriously have a song with one note on YouTube that gets a lot of views and helps a lot of people. And it's like, that's funny.
Yeah, very funny.
So, but it is, it's become something that, it's something that channels through me, I think, because I've spent so many years acquiring these skill sets to operate it, a DAW and edit videos and do all this other stuff and design and do web development. And, I've been through, I've learned a lot over the years, and now I can have those technical skill sets, and in knowing that, I can let the channel come through, and I can know how to do it pretty easily, which is kind of nice. So so that's what it's a total, it just feels like it's coming through me. Sometimes a song will come out in 4 hours, and it's like, holy moly, it was an impression. It was a feeling of a kind of a, it's very fluid. It's a very fluid process. So, and the one thing I love doing, is after I spend time writing a song, I'll bounce it down and then, or I'll export it, put it into Dropbox, listen to it in my, on my phone while I'm going for a walk, and just immerse myself in it before I upload it. And not just that, but I disconnect me from it, the ego, Brian, from it. And I imagine the listener as all others listening. it's like I clear my inner, it's like a blank canvas. I imagine myself listening to it through the ears of everybody else. And I just kind of, set a lot of intentions as I listen to it. So I put a lot of that into the music, a lot of heartfelt intentions, and I listen to it as not just as me, as the Brian, as the ego of Brian, but I listen to it as something that came from all of us, really. I mean, because it ultimately did. I'm kind of the technical channel that the light goes through. So, yeah.
Yeah, like in your painting with the rainbow tetrahedron or Merkaba with the light coming out, right?
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
That.
Yeah,
I saw that and I went, only you would paint that. I'm like, yeah, you get the light and then you've got the rainbow. Like we are the light coming in, and then we're multifaceted, aren't we? Beings.
We are exactly. I see it as all of us being one source, one light, and we filter through this prism of physicality into all these different forms, and here we are, in expressing our creativity and art in all these different colors and ways, but at the end and the beginning, it's all one. It's just I listen as all, the music comes from all of us, really, ultimately, so, yeah.
It does, yeah. It's, as you talk, I'm feeling you. I'm feeling your vibration, and it's really hypnotic,
Yeah,
you have a very soothing, hypnotic energy, and that's exactly what I get when I listen to your music.
Oh, that's cool.
You don't even have to make music. You just have to be there. You just have to stand there, Brian.
Yeah, just be like this on the stand, kind of like
my
this.
Equalizer. Yeah, with your arms out.
Yeah, I'll just be like in the corner of the room. Never mind, that's just Brian. He's just doing this thing. He's just
Brian.
Yeah, he's just being.
When you go for a walk and you listen to your music, it's like when I paint, right? And I finish a painting. I'm not looking at my painting. I'm like, wow. I don't see it as my painting.
Yeah.
And that's not even a thought. That's just natural. Do you know what I mean? In the past, it would have been, well, I did this and I'm okay at this. But now I paint and I'm like, wow, that's really nice. Like, where did that come from?
Oh my gosh, Biba, I've been following your work for a while, and it's just incredible. Like watching your painting gave me inspiration to start my painting. It really it did. So yeah, just kind of
beautiful.
Feeling the expressiveness of your energy and what you create and just what you've been posting. I'm like, that is just, it really helped me kind of explore a little bit more with painting, and it led to, all of a sudden I'm painting a lot.
You are painting a lot, and your paintings are amazing.
Oh,
they're absolutely beautiful. They're colorful. They're rich, and they're almost like 3D. They're like if I was to take acid, I'd really understand your paintings. Not like that they're psychedelic paintings, but they're so multi-layered. They're really, when you look at your paintings, you're like, wow. It
feels like I've never done acid. I wonder how my paintings would change if I did acid.
It's really good.
Or paint on acid or something. I was thinking I should do a Bob Ross show, but it would be like a Bob Ross on acid, kind of. And I would, instead of happy little trees, it would be, whatever my trees are. But yeah, it is kind of it's almost like a DMT type feeling. Like, it's just like everything is vibrating, everything is resonating, the trees, everything we see, it's in constant movement. And I think, when I was young, I used to look at post-impressionist paintings, especially Van Gogh, and I felt the movement and I felt the energy. It was like, that's reality. Like, that's the reality I feel through my mind's eye. Like, And so it would move me to tears,
Wow.
Van Gogh's paintings. I just like, yeah, the one time I just sat in the Metropolitan and just stared at one of them like,
Wow.
so, but it's kind of painting, art, music. It's all sound. It's all in different form. It's all resonance in different forms, so.
It's incredible how, like, I listen to you and I think about how I am and how me and you and us, we're going through this incredible transformation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awakening, remembering, feeling, knowing, sensing, seeing.
Yeah.
Falling in love more and more every day with all that is.
It's been quite a process. For me over the past year, has been a major life change. I got a divorce a year ago, and it was just we fell out of resonance. It was a it's a kind of a long story, but we're great friends now. We're co-parenting our kids, and things are really going well, actually, and but over the past year, kind of leaving my old house that we built together. It was in the middle of the woods. It was just beautiful.
Wow.
Being away from my kids for the first time ever. Those kinds of feelings, that kind of panic or anxiety and those kinds of feelings. I wasn't really prepared or braced for that. But it really caused me to know myself deeper and know all aspects of myself and know my shadows and know my pain and not run from it because I couldn't, because I knew that, I was kind of at that point where it was like, wow, I have me. I mean, I have other people love me, and I feel that, and I'm so grateful for that. But ultimately, if I'm going to make this work, if I'm going to be the best version of myself, I need me first. I need to look inside and find and just know me, not even find me, just know that I already know me, just wake up to that knowingness of who I really am. And it took some pretty dark moments, over the past year, lots of tears, but it's really, things have really, I've really been feeling a sense of this deep sense of peace and deep sense of flow, kind of like, yeah, it's been an incredible year. So.
Wow. Do you know, like, you released an album recently called what's it called? Terra
Lumina. Yeah.
You released that, and I listened to that and just, whoa.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. The tracks and how you blend the tracks and all the parts, how they come together, and it feels like I'm being like showered in light and love. And
oh, that's awesome.
I can tell actually what you're saying about your journey and finding that peace, because that album, I don't never remember seeing an album on YouTube, but you made an actual album and you put it out a few weeks or a month ago. And I used to speak light language as a kid. I used to wake up and sitting up in my bed, like speaking a weird language, like as a child. And I didn't know what that was. I just thought it was weird, It just keeps waking me up. I'm waking myself up, like, by talking this weird language.
Yeah.
And so I now know, Christians would call it heavenly language, and whatever would call it, the starseeds would call it light language, whatever it is. It's weird, right? But I never got into that because I never understood it. But when you released that album, your album came out, I was in my bed, I finished my meditations, I popped it on, and boom, this light language comes out. Wow. Activated instantly from the tracks.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
That's awesome. I know what you mean. Like with light language, I was raised in a Christian background, so we did
Sorry.
the speaking in tongues, and I always thought, I felt the when it comes to things like the Holy Spirit, I felt like that's chi, that's energy, that's life force, that's all the same thing. It's all, and I always felt it. I was like, oh yeah, but the theology and all that other stuff, I was like, what's
Yeah.
that all about? So when the speaking in tongues or you know, it was like I did that. I was like, is that light language? Was that light language? Like, what was that? What the heck was that?
What is that?
Yeah, but ultimately, it's a feeling. It's
Hmm.
ultimately it's the feeling we generate in our own hearts that create the reality that we ultimately want to see.
Yeah,
So, and
exactly.
that's the way I saw it. It was like I tuned out a lot of the religiosity. I just kind of like I literally just phased it out, and I just focused in on the the isness, the Holy Spirit, the all that is, and in my
Yeah.
heart, and that's kind of what I felt as a kid, and
Same as
so
me.
yeah.
We're very similar in that way because with the Christian church and how you began to phase out the doctrine, right? And just
Hmm.
allow the spirit to just expand more of your awareness of that actually is. And
Yeah, and when
because
you
the
fall
Holy
into,
Spirit,
yeah, oh,
continue,
go ahead.
because the Holy Spirit is very present when you're a Christian, like
Yeah,
especially if you're a sensitive or an empath.
yeah,
It's so
hmm.
obvious, and then they
Oh
start
yeah, for
talking
sure.
about offerings and the house cleaning, and you're just thinking the Holy Spirit's here. Like, hello, what are
Hmm.
you doing talking about other things? Is
Hmm.
this not what this is about? And so for people who are
Hmm.
sensitive to that,
Hmm.
um, but when I listened to your album and the light language came out, it's my analytical mind had no interest in engaging what it was for the first time because of your
Hmm.
music, and
Hmm.
I'm really big into playing with the idea of creating your own reality, right? So I play with that
Hmm.
every day. But
Hmm.
when I spoke the light language, listening to your track, it was instant creation.
Mm.
I
That's
would have a
awesome.
thought what I wanted, and then the light language didn't happen if I wasn't listening to your music.
Wow.
Yeah,
It
we're all connected, right?
it's just amazing. And the biggest thing that I want, for my music, that I hope is that it really just inspires everybody to open up and create and connect to their heart, and
Hmm.
you know, and
I
that's,
think you got that.
yeah. So
I think you've nailed that one
awesome.
there.
Yes.
Oh, I think you've nailed that with that one down.
Yeah.
And when you're creating music, so it's more like when you're making music and you're putting these tracks out for free. Everything you
Hmm.
do is for free. What
Hmm.
was that like? How did you come to that offering?
Um, I I want it's I just feel like so much is flowing out of me, and I want it to be as available to other people who need it and want to use it, and I've always kind of, I think, and energy is more of a currency to me. It's more of a just knowing my purpose, I think.
Hmm.
um and that's why I loved, putting it up on YouTube where people could just listen to it. There's maybe an ad, and even when I first monetized, it took me a while. So I was like, "Dang it, should I monetize? Should I not monetize?" Like, and I finally did, and I realized that it could help me do that full time. And then I thought, okay, well, I guess there's the business side of things. um, but and so now it's kind of this balance, like, of making sure that there's always an option for people to freely listen, um, that they don't have to, you know, buy any. There's no exclusivity. I don't want exclusivity. I'm working with some people to help me, with licensing and stuff like that for maybe more commercial things. That whole world is pretty complex, man.
Hmm.
But yeah, what I really want is just there always be this open channel between the stuff I'm creating and access, people having access to that. So,
Are
yeah.
you aware of like I listen to, I'm always listening to something. I'm very rarely in the stillness, apart from when I'm asleep and just before I go to bed. I'm always listening because I get better. I feel better when I'm listening to music, right?
Yeah.
And so, isn't it medicine? It's just medicine.
It definitely is.
But nobody creates sound like you. Nobody.
Oh,
Like you're exceptionally talented.
Thanks.
And it's just for free. It's like, here I am. You're just so cool about it. It's like most people would be. I listen to meditation tracks or go on to other sounds, and it's 30% of what you're doing. They get it, and then they don't get it. They just put it in the wrong tone or the wrong pitch, or they're just not really getting it. You just are on all the time. It's just always bang on. And
that's
even
awesome.
the graphics. Do you do the graphics as well?
I do. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
I've been a video editor for in my past. Before I took on Metaverse full time, I was a graphic designer, video editor, kind of web designer, developer guy. Did all the things. So, but yeah, I'm working on creating all these different mandalas and figuring out different techniques on creating kind of interesting kaleidoscope effects. So I play around with a lot of that. I'm such a dork.
Dork away, because it's just great.
Oh,
I love it. When from, let's say, channeling, because on your website you say you say something about going into the nothingness, which is unlimited potential. In the emptiness and in the nothingness is where everything is. You talk about that. So when you are making sounds, when you're creating sounds, or when you hear a sound within yourself or around you, what's your process of connecting? Do you have a process, or is it just automatic? Or what's your process for channeling, or just being that which creates that?
That's such a good question. I think it changes where it changes, but it stays the same. So there's this same pipeline that's open, but based on kind of where I'm at in life, how I'm feeling, I let the way I'm feeling and the things I'm going through help create the music too. If I'm feeling a little sad or or something, I'll put in some of that genuine sadness that I'm feeling, but not in a like you should feel sad too, so resonate to sadness, but like, this is my heart as it is, like, this is all of me, and because we're all human beings, and so where was I going with this?
And like your channeling process.
Yeah. So, but then I kind of just, it's like a flow. I just start making some sounds, and it starts to evolve, but it's almost like, it almost feels, instead of having to exert a lot of energy into creating something, like I do that, but a lot of it is magnetic. It comes to me, the frequencies, the way they interact, the way the instruments interact, the little parts that I find when I add a delay that just kind of makes this little hook. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. It just kind of, stuff just flows in and it flows out. It's like the torus, and I think that a lot of creatives tend to want to just flow out. We just want to like create, but we also have to flow in too. And that's kind of I think it's a heart space that I feel, that just kind of brings in that nothing, that energy from the void that that energy from the creative void, sort of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's
Yeah.
beautiful that you're allowing the human and the spirit to kind of move together in that making music.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're actually integrating the human part of you as well.
Yeah, because our humans are divine too. Our human templates, I think are meant to be divine. And in the world we're in, there's a lot of dissonance. There's a lot of frequencies that hold us down. That and there's a lot to get into as opposed to as why and how and but I think ultimately, we're divine templates, both spiritually and physically. I think it's all one and the same, basically, just at different densities, different resonances, basically. So, yeah. So our bodies, I think, our spiritual bodies just slowed down a little bit.
That feels good.
In a way, it feels in a way like that. Like we're multidimensional and we're resonating at many different levels. And I think that's what I'm channeling. I'm channeling kind of this other Brian that's like an oversoul, or like kind of the more of a refined light that's a little more closer to the oneness, sort of, in a way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I love listening to you because I'm going to start doing that too with my art. I'm going to start allowing the humanness in, because I normally just go, she's parked over there.
Yeah.
I meditate and it's almost like I just, I have to learn to integrate the human. That's my biggest struggle about being on the earth, is being human.
Me too. Yeah.
It's the hardest part of being here.
It is for people like us, because this place feels like we're trying to run in water. It's like so thick. It's like, and heavy. And and so yeah, and integrating that and like, I'm sure all of us have, or you and me probably have both felt the same, like, man, I just want to go home. I don't know where home is, but where is it? It's not really here. It doesn't feel like here. And
it couldn't be here, right?
Right. It's like, what is this place? What is this? The weird, like, everything. Yeah. But instead of resisting that, like I would resist that physicality, this meat suit, and but the more I resisted, the more the universe just gave me to resist. Just said, oh, you want to resist things? Okay, I'll give you more reasons to resist. It's kind of like abundance is, we're always abundant, like no matter what. Some people just choose to be abundant in a scarcity mindset, and some choose to be abundant in abundance mindset. So it's always, the universe is always flowing in whatever our mindset is. And at least that's kind of how I've learned from my own experiences, how that works. But yeah.
Me too. Yeah. That's exactly the same as me. If abundance could be anything, right? Mm-hmm. It could be an abundance of discontent.
Yeah.
If you're not careful of your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you find that when your children arrived, that being here was a bit easier? Because it kind of had to be.
Yeah, it was kind of like I have a mission. Fatherhood is a purpose of mine now. Like I'm here to make music and create art, but being a father and raising children, like, yes, okay, like that's also my purpose. And they are, I mean, they're everything to me. They're just incredible. So Yeah. And I get a lot of I just feel their energy when we're together. I can fully be present and just soak in all that love and give all that love. And uh, yeah, I'm so grateful for them. And I know it's been like it's hard when you go through a divorce and there's children involved, and you worry so much about their well-being, how they're doing. And they've really grown a lot in some amazing ways this past year too. So,
Of course.
yeah.
Like probably, their lifespan will be impacted entirely by this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's by design. Like that's the way you all signed up to be, isn't it? Like, so they say that you signed up this life and you made certain plans with each other, and
yep,
that helps. That helps, doesn't it, Brian? Knowing that, okay, I know it's hard, but we signed up for this.
Exactly. That's in those catalysts that we put that we plan on. I think we arrange these catalysts to kind of wake us up or jostle us, and even though they might be difficult, I mean, that's how we're really going to truly change, is to to not run away from those. If something is truly resonating or not resonating in your heart, and you need to make a life decision, you need to make an action that is hard to make and it hurts. It's not running from that. It's fully embracing that and going into it. Because the more you go into that, the more you realize it isn't that scary. It isn't as scary as we thought. The more you, like, when it's that story of, a door, somebody's pounding on a door, and it sounds like a monster pounding on your door, wanting you to let it in. And you're like, no way, I'm not opening that door. It sounds really scary and terrible, and I'm not going in there. But when you but it's making such a loud noise that it's just affecting your life and how you feel. And finally, you decide to open the door, and it's just your 8-year-old self saying, hey, I just want a hug. And then once you do, so. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's what I've found.
Did your parents get divorced?
No, they didn't. They were married. My dad took his life in 2015. So
wow, he took his own life.
Yeah, it was.
Gosh.
Yeah,
sorry to hear that. That's quite a shock.
It was a shock. He's had to he struggled with depression all of his life. His father took his life also. So my gosh, and then one more generation before that. So there's a long line of paternal or father suicides. So
wow,
yeah. So that's another purpose of mine, right? So raising kids, sticking around. I can do those two things. Maybe make some music in the meanwhile.
I'm going to stick around and break the chain.
That's right. And break the matrix while I'm at it.
Yeah, thank you, because I back you up with that one for sure. We're going to tear that one down, right?
We sure are.
One piece of art at a time.
Yep, that's how we do it,
isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's 17, and she was on the sofa last night, and she was just lying there, so I could have jumped on her and gave her a hug.
Yeah.
And she just went, thank you for everything, Mum. And I just thought, wow, what is everything? Just being a mum, maybe it's for her.
Yeah.
So I just said, no, thank you. And, I said to her, you came here to be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you being you is all you ever need to be.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
You singing in your bedroom, that's your light, embracing life, you dancing, you creating music, you cooking, you making cookies, you talking to me, you showing your friends all these conspiracies that aren't conspiracies. Like, that's you getting the work done.
Yeah. Yeah,
Getting
exactly.
the work done doesn't mean you need a healing center or you being you is getting the work done. Like, she is a light
Mm-hmm.
and she's so bright, and I'm just learning her being her is the job. I used to think I had to become this, and this to get the work done. Like one person, two person, help three, like
Mm-hmm.
matter to matter, right? I used to
Mm-hmm.
think like that's how
Right.
this works. It's not quick enough. There's not enough people. There's not enough time. And now I'm like, relax.
Yeah,
Just be in the flow, like you said. Find the
exactly.
flow, get into the flow, and then the light will guide you, whether it's to music, to art, to channeling, to podcast, to being an amazing parent or an amazing partner or an amazing boss or whatever.
Yeah.
Just get into the flow. Don't you find, Brian, that when you get into the flow, everything works out?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It does. Everything, it just kind of comes back to you in sort of this in harmonious, everything is harmonious. It's like harmony, and when I'm feeling, it's funny, those days when I'm feeling disharmonious, I can feel it in my body. And then when I go out to run in some errands or, there's always these little things that get in my way or frustrate me. And like, I'm like, okay, I can tell it's the mirror effect. It's all coming back to me. And I'm like, all right, I got to check myself. But when I'm in the flow, it's like you're that much closer to everything being just one, really, anyways. So when you're in the flow, you're just more, in a state of oneness where everything is just kind of, yeah, and that's same with creating things, it's like you tap into, when you're in that flow, you're like logging into the cosmic internet, you're kind of just, you're in that vibrational state, that resonance state, really, so.
Yeah. It's like if you have two identical timelines, they're identical.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whichever way I wake up, if I wake up with the heaviness, that timeline will
Mm-hmm.
mirror back the heaviness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if I wake up in the joy and I put a bit of time into myself and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
feeling good and groovy, that everything will look identical, but the energy of everyone I encounter will be matching mine.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is weird. It's amazing. And the
It
synchronicities
is.
that happen, like that, oh my gosh. There's so many synchronicities that just blow my
Yeah.
mind. I just have to chuckle. I don't even know how to respond anymore it's just,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's just like, it's like your paintings, actually. This is how I see synchronicities. And I think this is why I really like your art as well, because I think the synchronicities, we're living in a bandwidth of consistent, beautiful synchronicities. Like everything is a
Mm-hmm.
synchronicity. Sometimes we just get to see it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Sometimes we
always
get
there.
to, exactly. It's kind of like we're getting a glimpse of the Mandelbrot fractal in real life, in real application. Yeah. It's like the fractal nature of this universe, the holographic fractal nature. We're like, when we see those synchronicities, it's like this beautiful, intricate fractal, like, whoa, just, it's amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing. It's so nice also to talk about it, because I think that we're so busy getting on with our lives and doing, because I find that either it's like I'm trying to find how to stop time or make time. I'm trying to, because there's so much I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have so much, I don't get bored, and I never know not what to do. And I never know, I just always have some idea, whether it's writing or painting or doing a series of paintings or interviewing people or with this quantum healing work. It's just, and now I'm thinking I want to sing. I'm like, yes. No, don't sing, because then you have to do another thing and you'll never sleep. Just don't sing.
Right.
Just don't pick up another thing.
Just not another thing. Whatever you
just
gotta stop doing things. I know that feeling, and then I have that FOMO, that like fear of missing out. And like, but there's only so many hours, but I want to get this and this and this done, and
release more tracks. I find there's like a rich flow at the moment, and when I catch it, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm just a part of this. I'm a particle in this life field of information, and
Yeah.
how I stay in that flow is I have to meditate.
Yeah.
I can't be here if I don't meditate, because I don't know how to navigate the consistent bombardment of frequencies that are lower, heavier. There's so many that
Yeah.
when I tune in the instrument that I am, right? When I tune that in the morning, whether it's listening to Metaverse music, which is your sound, when I tune in and then I go, I am one. When I have to hit that moment. And when I hit that moment, everything in my day is the flow, everything.
Yeah.
But if I don't meditate, Brian, it's not like that.
Exactly.
Like that.
It's so important. It's really important. And, like there are times where I meditate more often than not. Sometimes I fall out of practice, and I can tell, I get so busy, or it's the weekend with the kids, and I try to meditate, but I end up sleepitating and
levitating.
And, yeah. And it makes such a difference when you it makes such a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's like, I'm, like you're probably a mega empath like me.
Mega.
And,
Help.
I know. And yeah, it is hard, going around and just anywhere in public, because I feel it all, and knowing how to discern what's what. It's just so overwhelming sometimes.
It's full on, isn't it, Brian?
It is full on. Yeah. So I spend a lot of time in my apartment and going for walks. And, that's about it. There is oh my gosh, there's an art club here in town that I'm part of now, that we get together every Wednesday night and just hang out and make art, and they're just the coolest group of people. So that's my social activity right there.
Well, that's a pretty nice social activity,
right? Yeah.
It's really nice. How do you like being I think it's called a hyoki. There's a word for the particular type of empath that's very strong.
Yeah. What is that word?
There's a word.
I just read that.
There's a word for everything under the sun, but there's a word for this particular type of empath. And it's like, I spoke to my friend and he said, Biba, you're dealing with you, but then you're dealing with all of the other things that's going on around you. Because I think as empaths, we are like filters. We filter through a lot of the crap for people. We naturally. Why else would we be empaths?
Right.
Why were we born? Why did we come here like that?
Right. That's true, for a purpose. And I have felt that it's sort of a filtering process in a way. Yeah. Yeah. That's that's amazing. And then with and energies to me have color and shape and texture, so it's like a full-on sensory thing too. And I think it helps me discern what's what. I can learn how to use it to help me discern instead of let it overwhelm me, I think. Or at least I'm working on that. So
it's constant learning though, isn't it? Being an empath, what?
It's always learning, because everything's always shifting and changing, and energies, the energies out there, in the world are, I mean, I wonder though, like when there's sort of a collective timeline or course of events, and then there's our own inner mirroring of our reality. And I wonder how those two macro and micro kind of merge together, or if it's all literally just an inner projection from us. I wonder that sometimes.
I wonder about things like that as well. Like I was talking to someone earlier, and then I thought, Jesus, I'm feeling a bit like I'm really anxious. What am I so anxious about? Like, and then after about 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, that's not me. That's them. They're anxious.
Yep.
So I'm actually completely happy and chilled.
Right.
But I still have to remember that.
Yeah.
I don't get it immediately. I'm like,
Yep.
why am I feeling anxious? And then I'm like, no, I'm not actually feeling anxious. They're feeling anxious. And now I'm processing all of their energy for them. So now I'm going to stop and let
Yeah.
them deal with their stuff.
Yep.
While I'm
Yeah.
having a normal conversation about tea or cats or something, by the way, there's all that universe going on.
Right. Exactly. I know. Exactly. I've been, whenever I feel that anxiety, I've realized that, like, that's the door into how not to feel it. So the pain is the portal. So I go into it. I'm like, okay, anxiety, there you are. And then I feel it in my body. I register it wherever it is in my body. And then once I register it, then that to me like creates like that portal. And then I'm like, then I can look in and I can see, all right, oh, it was that bill that I didn't pay. That's why I'm feeling anxious. It was
Wow.
like, dang it. And then so I pay it and I feel better. Or I can't identify anything. So, oh man, it must be collective energies or something, or it must be because of a conversation or something. The way I noticed somebody was crying all by themselves the other day and I felt bad, and or stuff like that stick with you, and that your body you hold within your body and your subconscious, but in your mind you've moved on. You're like, I have stuff to do, I have things to do, but when you don't integrate everything you're feeling in your full self, sometimes it creates kind of a disconnect, and that's what I feel, that disconnect gives that feeling of anxiety sometimes. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And that's what I said to my daughter last night on the sofa as well. I said, when you're in the flow and life is so easy, and that's why the hard days are so amplified, because you know how easy it actually is just to feel good.
Yes, right, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
That's why those hard days are sometimes devastating, because you're like, I get devastated sometimes. I wake up
Yeah,
like devastated, and I'm
yeah,
thinking it's so dramatic.
yeah,
Come on. And I'm like, no, I'm devastated.
yeah. I feel that way too. Exactly. I know.
So intense.
Like, it's just, yeah. And I'm like, where is this? How is this? What's going on? Because it feels like some days the heaviness is just so, and so it kind of feels like I imagine myself like this little balloon, sort of, not really inflated. And I'm like, all right, it's expansion time. So like, time to breathe. And so I start just kind of breathing deep, that balloon, and I just start expanding slowly, and then it helps. It's like, but it feels like you're kind of imploding almost. You're just like, yeah.
Isn't it great we can identify with each other? Because years ago, I didn't know what an empath was. I didn't know that word existed, right?
Yeah.
We didn't, did we?
I had no idea. I just thought I don't know. I don't know what it was. I didn't trust myself. I think I didn't trust my own intuition. I was, I guess, in our, especially in like in industrialized modern society, it's a lot about just not listening to your intuition, kind of the left brain, kind of masculine, just very structured kind of way of living. And but I've never resonated with just that, never resonated with that. I've always been flow, like, let's just flow. So
Let's just flow. Yeah, just like your music. When there's two things I want to say that have come to mind, and they always come to mind because they needed to be said. I understand that now. When something's said, it's because it needs to be put out there, because somebody will get that.
Right.
I don't. Yeah, it's always like that.
That's exactly what I've come to realize too. The things I post, the music I make, even the visuals, everything, every little aspect. I've had a hard time coming out and just being me. I used to want to be just this private person. I just wanted to make music privately, and still every time I post something, I feel a little bit of that anxiety, like that. But I just want to be private. But now I realize every little thing posted and said is for somebody for a certain reason. It may not be for everybody, but for some reason that came through me that somebody needed to see that or hear that, or so it's so true. Yeah.
And empaths are natural healers, and your music is how you do that. You don't have to go on a Reiki course or on a Holy Ghost highway course. You just have to do your music, and because your music is so healing. When I listen to your music, and my daughter listens to your music, and even anyone in my, it's like it just brings that relief. That's the relief. It just brings the relief. What I wanted to say to you is, when I was a child, my parents got divorced. And when my parents got divorced, the pain of that, I had my spiritual awakening through that.
Yeah.
So it's important to know, like when I got divorced then years later with my own, and I know how intensely divorces are horrific, actually.
Yeah, they really are.
They're horrific for everybody. Especially if you're an empath, because you're getting all the characters, right? You got to do all of that.
That's what was so overwhelming. I mean, it really is the feelings, the pain I've never known. I mean, I've known pain. My dad was sick for a lot of my life, and but the kind of pain that comes with divorce is just, you don't really know until you go through it, really. I don't, it's tough.
It's proper heartbreak, isn't it?
It's
proper. And the crying, the tears it's like they're ancient or something. It's like,
yes. Yeah. Wow.
They're like ancient. It's like an ancient pain that comes through you through a divorce. And it's not because, for me, it's not because I was like so in love, and it was just like, it wasn't meant to be like that.
Right.
We weren't all meant to suffer. Me, my ex-husband, and my daughter, we weren't meant to suffer like this. This was meant to be about love. And then love became so distorted. I know, like, you were really good friends, and, for my daughter, we managed to maintain a very cool connection, where she just feels that her parents loved each other and she came from love, and they're just definitely can't live together. Yeah. Because we just can't. And but that pain, like you, I saw my daughter go through that, and I still see the repercussions of that like years later. And I'm thinking that pain has developed her to be who she is. And she is a force to be reckoned with. She really is.
Right.
She is she's a game changer for this place, as are your kids and the kids coming. They're game changers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they definitely are. They have a new energy, I mean, it's just my kids, like, they have this amazing connection. Just, I mean, children are intuitive geniuses, basically. They're incredible.
They are, aren't they?
And it is those hard moments, those painful moments in life, that, it sounds cliche, but they do define us. They really, they create that moment where we have to connect with our will and our intent to make a decision whether or not it's going to make us stronger or whether or not it's going to destroy us ultimately. So it's that choice point. Kind of pain is like that choice point. It's like, for me, I've found. So
definitely.
Yeah.
And don't you feel that your kids also are teaching you? My daughter woke me up and continues to wake me up in the most abstract ways.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like,
yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely. The more I just let go and just listen to my kids, and just flow and listen to their energy and feel their energy. And it's just, I learn so much and I get so much knowledge from them. And it's just incredible, like my job as their dad is to, provide for them and feed them and love them. But it's also to give them the space and the freedom they need to become who they are, And they're two different people. Cece she's this fiery redhead. She's very emotional, very expressive. And Cash, my son, is very kind of analytical, and he's just this super smart, brilliant little guy. But like with Cece, I don't ever want her to feel like she has to suppress her emotions, or Cash, both kids. I want them to know that, your emotions are valuable. They are you. You express them, you feel them, and learn how to feel them. And I think that's so important with kids is to teach them that, because I think we've been taught to bottle up our emotions in society and there's obviously appropriate ways to express emotions, but I think expressing our feelings is so freaking important, especially to teach that to children, because holding on to pain, holding on to that in our body creates dis-ease. When we hold on to those emotions, it literally starts to create a dis-ease. And so the earlier we teach our kids that, the better. That's my soapbox.
It's true though, but
yeah.
Feeling is everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything.
It is. Yeah. It creates our physical reality, really,
It is like, even like thinking to me comes second now. I don't think, and then I feel, and then I live by how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. And when you learn to do that, then when you're in that flow state, then you let your heart lead, and then other things will work out around it. Your brain will figure out how to take care of the bills, will figure out all the things. When your heart leads, then you really start to get a lot of abundance, amazing abundance. I mean, that's because I'm finding if I act out of this fear, if I act out of, oh shoot, I got to do this or this will happen. There's always there might be a result, but there's always entropy attached to that result. It seems like, because it was created out of a state of entropy. And so if I act out of a resonance from my heart, out of joy and abundance, it tends to not be that entropy effect, really. What I've learned. So
that's conscious living, isn't it? You're talking about really being conscious about your choices and your decisions and your parenting, and it's conscious.
Yeah. I'm getting there.
Me too. I'm getting there.
It's a process, so, but I'm grateful that it's a process, because, I think it's funny because we're already there, really. Ultimately, we're already that, which we just get to look through time and experience the process of getting there again. So like, we're like time travelers, really, something like that.
That's exactly how I see it, Brian.
Yeah.
It's already done. We just got to watch it out.
Yeah.
Watch it play.
We just get to refine our being. We get to refine who we are, as these conscious points of light. We get to experience this, and it's really beautiful when you think about it,
Yeah, it'd bring you to tears, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it has many times. Yeah.
And so you have a plant in the background. I have a plant in the background. You have your art in the background. I have my art in the background.
I know, I love that.
It's great, isn't it?
It's the best.
With my daughter, she's empathic too, and she's very intuitive. So what I learned was, when she would come into me when she was younger, and even now, she'd say, "Are you okay?" She'd come into me, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then I go, "No, I'm not fine. I can't just say I'm fine." So I'd say, "No, honey, come back. No, I'm not fine. You're 100% right in what you're feeling. I am not fine. I'll be okay, but I'm just feeling sad."
Yes.
But don't worry. I'm just validating that you are 100% correct in your feeling. What you're feeling is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always do that. So when she says, "How are you?" I go, "I'll get there." She'll go, "I know, I can feel it." And I'm like, "How does it feel?" She goes, "Mom, it's really heavy." She goes, "You need to get your shit together, Mom." Yeah. She's so on it now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sometimes we have to hear that from our kids, you know.
She's like, come on, Mom, go up and meditate or do something that just shift it, you know?
Yeah.
And another thing I do with her as well, she never wanted to be parented. So when she was a child, she could never be parented. She rebelled against the concept of authority. Now, I did not understand that, right? Like 15, 17 years ago, I was just saying, this kid does nothing she's told.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I raised her. Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
So I do this. No. I just thought, okay.
That's my daughter.
So then when she was, is it?
Yeah.
So it took me a few years to learn that she knows exactly what she needs. I just have to trust her.
Yeah.
I have to trust her. And now when she was 13 and she said, I can't go to school. I just can't go into that institution. It's killing me. It's actually going to kill me. I was like, you never have to go there again. And I learned how to allow her not to go to school, allow her to, she doesn't drink, she likes to smoke a bit of dope. That's okay once it's not all the time. Allow her. Don't go, no, because that's not in the rule book. There is no rule book with these kids.
Right, exactly.
Each one is tailor-made, right? Specifically by the light to just be here. I have to honor that. And she also has to have a few boundaries, right? In other words, you can't smoke 7 days a week, but you can smoke 2 days a week, you know?
Right, yeah. So, that's exactly it. Because like based on our knowledge or our expertise here on planet Earth, for how many more years we've been here, like look out for these things. I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to give you safe boundaries to play in, to be you and to explore who you are. But these are going to be some boundaries that are going to keep you here on planet Earth. So,
by the way, she'd say no to everything. She goes, you can't tell me what to do. Okay, so I need you to understand something. You have to allow me be a parent.
Yeah.
Because I am a parent. Allow me just even once a month. And you just go, okay, Mom, just once a month. And she goes, I'm really sorry, Mom. I would never let you be a parent. She has got this. She has an essential energy because this energy will not take what we took. Yeah. It's just no one's going to blindside this one, and
that's
ones
so
like
important.
Her.
That energy is so important.
And I have to. If I don't enrich that and support that, and if I'm constantly rebelling against her, going, no, you must. I'm like, you know what, honey, you do it. Just be brilliant. Just enjoy your life. Follow your joy. You came here to be nothing but you. And that means find the joy in whatever you do. And if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Just don't do it.
Exactly.
If the friendship's not working, walk away. If the job doesn't work, whatever, just find the joy. And she's learning, and she's like you and me. She's deeply empathic. So she's going through all that pain as well.
Yeah.
And
it's hard to navigate.
Her. Very.
Yeah. Especially,
it's hard to let go of their pain, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. That's really hard. Yeah. Yeah. And
that's where your music comes in, though. That's where your music comes in. Because I'll say, listen to this. And she'll go, God, I feel better, Mom.
That's so cool.
I feel better.
It's just amazing to hear, and just to hear from people who it's helped. I think so often I'm just kind of in my little cave and I just create my stuff, and I'm like, oh, wow. I look at the how many viewers or how many people listen. I'm like, that's so cool. It's amazing. But to hear the stories, to hear people talk about how it's affected them, it brings me to tears. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible.
It's really amazing.
So thank you for all of it. Thank you for your music.
Yeah.
Really.
Thank you.
That's time. That's hours and time and dedication and sleepless nights, and and it's such an offer. You're offering your service to humanity. You do it for free. That's the part that gets me, emotionally. That gets me. I'm just like, you have your own family to support, and forgetting about YouTube and these platforms. Like, you as a light being are offering something so valuable, and it's just there for anyone who wants it.
Yep.
That's you're a real gift, Brian.
Oh, well, we're all amazing gifts, and everybody that has been part of my journey, the metaverse thing. And metaverse is everybody, you know, it's kind of this vision of all of us. And, you know, I mean, I am so grateful, so incredibly grateful that this has become what it is. And I'm amazed every day, you know, it's going to be, but I know, I just have this knowing, like I've always had this knowing about the Metaverse channel. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I just knew it was going to be huge. I had a heart knowing that was even when I was a kid. And I have the same sense of knowing that whatever comes next is going to be a bigger community. It's going to be more, because I know there's me and my music and my art and everything, but what Metaverse it's everybody. It's all of us. It's a community of, you know, this creating from the heart. And I'm excited.
Do you have like any ideas what you'd like to do?
Well, I think for the website, I've been selling, people want to buy the MP3s, so I've been making those available, but I want to do like kind of like a subscription, something for healers and practitioners and people, like a resource where people can access the catalog, the entire catalog, and use music for their classes or use music for whatever they want.
Wow.
Also have like a blog and resources and a community of people who can talk about, you know, just whatever. So that's on the website of things. The channel, I'm going to keep writing music. I'm making shorts, doing all that stuff. And then I'm hoping, I would love to like start exploring like writing soundtracks and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely soundtracks, because the music and the movies that are being made now, there's more light available. More light is getting into these platforms, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're going to continue to just let that light in. And, I would, oh man, when I was really into running a few years ago, I would just listen to Hans Zimmer all the time, just just cinematic. And I would just get so pumped up. Oh, it was just the best thing ever.
Epic.
Oh my gosh. It's so epic. So freaking epic.
He's something else, isn't he?
Oh man. Yeah. And there's a lot of other amazing composers that I've been starting to, you know, learn more about. And, you know, just,
would you do a podcast yourself? But you said you might do a podcast.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's something I'm planning actually. So I think the channel, you know, there's always music is always going to be a huge part, but I also want to do guided meditations, more affirmations.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, and affirmations I think are pretty easy to do. I've been writing a few, and so yeah, there's going to be a lot of, I think I'm at the point where I need to find other people to come in and sort of help with certain things. And so I'm at that point where I'm kind of asking the universe for that next step.
me too. I'm asking for helpers.
Yeah, I need help.
To help me manage what's going on here.
I know, a one-person show, it's a lot to manage. So
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't have a clue about the business side of art. I'm just like, oh, crikey. I mean, you know, having to really do that is my brain. It's that's a hard work for me. That learning. Yeah. Empaths can just keep giving and giving and giving. But then when you're like, you have to deliver it in an earthly way as a human, so it will appeal to humans. It's like,
right.
Okay. So you have to price it and do it and copyright it. And you're just thinking, yeah, that's a huge job. Can just someone else come and do that? I know.
And that's what I'm hoping for, somebody else in their expertise to come in. And because I tend to, my idea of procrastinating is just writing another song, basically. It's like, oh man, I got to do all this business stuff. Oh, look, a pretty new instrument. I'm going to write a new song. So
great.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And if I was to ask you, like, how long have you been on the planet for?
45 years.
45 years. Okay,
Yeah.
so in the last 45 years, what advice would you give to people? Because I know you have a huge following, right? And that's why I asked you to come on the podcast, because only recently I've been aware in the last year of you actually playing your own music with the guitar and singing. That's the first time. The first time I saw you, I was like, wow, there's the guy who makes the music. He has a beard. Like, I never knew.
Yeah.
And so you're becoming more available.
Yeah.
It's like you're coming out of the closet. It's like, yeah,
pretty much.
am.
Yeah, it's like, okay, fine, all right, here's my music.
It's like Banksy, you don't know, he's always hidden.
Oh my gosh. I was just watching a thing on him a few days ago, actually.
Yeah, no one really knows. So with you now, and I asked you to come on because I wanted to know you more. I wanted to know, like, who are you? So now I know you're an empath and how you do your art, and that you're actually channeling, and you and I have a lot of, and you've gone through some really hard stuff, and maybe that's why your music, it's really amplified. I find it's like it's really waking me up actually more, because awesome. I wake up every day a bit more, right? Every day it's just a bit more. A bit more. And there's certain tools like light workers make, like your tool is the sound that wakes me up a bit more. I listen to a friend on a podcast. I'm like, whoa, because it's a constant reminding that not to go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep.
Right. Yeah. It's who's Gert
Stay awake.
The School of Awakening or whatever. What is it? Oh, I'm totally drawing a blank. There was a quote I was thinking of, but just the process of self-awakening every day, continuing to remind ourselves. Yeah, it's so important. Yeah.
It is so important. So being here 45 years, what advice would you give to people, Brian? What would you say, like, that could help people? Like, what would you, after 45 years of being on this planet, what's helped you the most? Or what advice would you give to people who just aren't quite getting in the flow at the moment?
I would say love yourself, love who you are, know yourself above all else. I think that's probably the most important thing. Like for me, it took me a long time to come out of my shell, because I didn't love myself. I was very, doubtful of me and very unhappy in my own skin. Just didn't really feel well into my 40s. Actually, even I'm coming online with learning how to love myself. Over the past year, I've really learned a lot. Really learned who Brian really is. But I would say the biggest advice for people is to don't hold back, follow your joy and love yourself, and don't hide behind a shell, and be you. Because 20 years ago I was in this rock band, and we were touring. We're not like touring, but we're playing these great local shows and talking to record labels. But I always felt just so discontent in my own body. Like I always saw Brian as this flawed, just guy who didn't really deserve much. And I always felt that. For some reason. And that ultimately led to nothing really working out with the band. And then I quit music for a few years. I stopped playing music, and several years I just didn't even pick up my guitar. And all the while I have this catalog of all these amazing songs that I wrote in my early 20s. Like I just forgot about it for a long time. And meditation music, the channel, has really helped me rebuild who I am. And I think, and so now that Metaverse is more established, it feels like it's it's like starting to ramp up more. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's really beautiful. I would second that. Know yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the key, isn't it, Brian?
So important. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the creativity comes, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. And to trust that process too, and to trust the errors, trust all the mistakes in the creative process too. And just learn that those get you to that level of mastery, you know. So, because I think we get so intimidated by potentially putting the wrong brush stroke, you know, on a painting or whatever. But I mean, even if you do, you can create something beautiful, even more beautiful out of it, you know. So
beautiful. Yeah. Listen, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Where are you based?
I'm in Monticello, Minnesota, in the States.
Minnesota.
So, yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota, and
it's
I'm in
nice
Ireland, Dublin, here. Ireland.
Yeah,
is
that's
it?
Awesome.
Yeah, Ireland is awesome.
I would love to go to Ireland. I'd love to visit Ireland someday.
You'd love it. It's just a music central, really, you know. They love music so here. Cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's important for our souls.
Mm-hmm. It, yeah, it's critical, I think. We are music, basically, you know. So.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I have a friend called Tommy, and he says, you know, Biba, what is sound? We are sound. What even is that? Like, it's such a mystery.
Right.
What even is that? You know?
Yeah.
Geometry.
Because it's all interrelated. Because sound has geometry, you know. When you apply sound to a physical medium, it creates these intricate patterns when you study cymatics. And these patterns are directly linked to what you see in nature. Yeah. It's like, wow, the tortoise shell is a literal cymatic pattern that you can replicate with sand and frequency. Like, it's like insane.
It's so magnificent that it's almost incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. You know, I can get glimpses of how magnificent it is, but there's a part of me that doesn't know how to articulate that in my mind or in my feelings, but I know that it's just it's just magnificent.
Yeah, it's a knowingness beyond the realm, beyond the realm we're in. It's a knowingness.
Big time.
And that knowingness is what connects us to that realm that we're already that, you know, in. Yeah. So
big time.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm going to send you love. I'm going to send you blessings.
Same.
I thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Biba. This is awesome. This is so fun. I'm so glad that we got to chat. So.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you agreed. And so you've got where is your art? What website is that?
Yeah. So it's brianlarson.art.
brianlarson.art.
Yeah. So I have prints are available. So there's like lots of different options, canvas prints, stuff like that. I'm going to start selling originals. I don't know how to price these things because it's hard to know. It's hard to let go of them. Like I've been thinking about selling that one. I just don't know how much I'm going to sell it for. But
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I do, right? I'll sit up and I'll see the picture and I'll say, how much shall I sell it for? And I'll see the number.
Okay.
I ask my higher self. Yeah, ask your higher self. And in the beginning, I was like, whoa. And then I was like, you'll know when it feels right.
Right.
Not when you think it's right or wrong. Yeah. It feels nice. That's a nice feeling.
That's exactly because money is energy. Money is kind of like this water that flows. And so I think, well, okay, value. I'm learning to see I'm learning to see money in a different sense when it comes to business as sort of an energetic thing. So I'm looking at it, from that way. It's like energetically, what kind of value? Yeah. It's something I'm working on. So
Just make sure you have a really nice scan of it before you sell it, so you always have a copy of it.
Yeah,
would be
absolutely.
my advice.
Yeah,
I've only
that's
just
so
discovered
important.
that like 2 years later.
Oh my gosh!
Listen,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
I send you love. I let you go.
Same, Biba. Thank you so much.
Maybe we'll chat again, huh? Another time.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, Biba.
God bless.
God bless.
Bye.